there. Yeshua Dara. Yeshua Lona. Make the process issue. Great messenger. It's a film for issue. Baba what? Baba me. Issue. Why issue? Why issue?
Nation is home to the Anu spiritual order founded by Chief Jegna Haru Yuya Asan Anu. Some of the components of Anu Nation are Anu Life Global Ministries, Enlightenment and Transformation, Sadulu House, and Osiris Life Spiritual Services. SaduluHouse.com is the school component of Anu Nation, where spiritual empowerment through education and training is emphasized. One way that is accomplished is through our monthly webinars. Our webinars are packed with foundational information, rituals, and live instruction to empower your spiritual work. House.com, you can view our diverse list of topics for this year that range from meditation to sex magic. And you can also register for any of the webinars at your convenience, sign up for our introductory Orisha class, schedule a spiritual reading, and sign up for the Anu Spiritual Training course. Enlightenment and Transformation is the media component of Anu Nation. Here, you can view all of our archive shows from over the years to our current segments. They include Chief Speaks, Masterminds Monday, Anu Asafo, Thunderground Thursdays, and Foundational Fridays. You can also visit us on our YouTube channels. They are Enlightenment and Transformation, Orisha Yoruba, and Anu Nation. Osiris Life Spiritual Services is for those who are ready to take the necessary actions to bring your life into holistic balance. Here we offer consistent monthly one-on-one coaching, solutions that are tailored just for you, practical hands-on self-development techniques that will accompany your monthly readings, and customized practical strategies designed for you that guarantee positive results. Simply choose the package that best fits your needs. And last but not least, AlphaOmegaStore.com. The Alpha Omega Store is our online botanica where we offer divination tools, herbs and incense, DVDs, books, and other hard-to-find ritual items. You can also get our best-selling foundational book, Grasping the Root of Divine Power. Other great works from Anu Nation are Shrine and Altar, Solutions for Dysfunctional Family Relationships, and Natural Hair for Young Women. All great books to assist you on your journey. To find out more on how to get involved with Anu Nation, visit our websites and YouTube channels and be sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter.
Peace, peace. I'm here. Greetings. sliding into my space. Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Community on Enlightenment and Transformation, and I am Chief Yuya, and I want to welcome all of you, of course, all of you first-time listeners, all of you archive listeners, all of you Blog Talk Radio listeners, all of you YouTube channel listeners, iTunes, Mixcloud, and all the other places that you end up finding these segments. I want to welcome you all to this space. And, I trust that for those of you who are in time zones where you're coming down to the eve of your day, that you've had a productive day today, and certainly wish that you've had a peaceful day, and a productive, peaceful, and prosperous day. But let me give you the phone number. Anybody who wants to call in, I already see some people on the phone line. And for those who want to call in, feel free to call in at 515-605-9862. Yeah, that's it. 515-605-9862. And if you want to speak, just hit the number 1. If you want to speak, just hit the number 1. Yeah, so today has been such an eventful day. So as I'm speaking tonight and, possibly sharing with you all tonight, I'm going to take it light and easy. I like to mix it up a little bit in terms of the energy on the shows. Sometimes I go maybe a little deeper, and then sometimes I like to keep it kind of light, especially the nighttime shows. I kind of, as we're moving down into the cool of our day, it's good to relax. This is a time when we should really be in retirement mode and not really kicking it up, even though I know a lot of times we end up doing that because we give the majority of our day, of our great time, to someone else's cause. So when we get home, when we get off work, sometimes it's like, no, I'm gonna do something for myself, and then gave 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours to someone else. So now we want to kick it up late at night, making it more difficult for us to arise in the dawning. But the nighttime is really when you should be cooling down with everything else. You can feel it. If you've ever been in the time when you had a blackout and there was no electricity where you were, you ever notice how cool, especially on a summer night, how beautiful it is, how peaceful it is when there's no electricity, when you have a blackout and it's nighttime, and you don't have any of those electromagnetic waves jumping all through you, and you can't do anything but maybe just sit. You might be able to listen to some music, maybe, or just watch a candle flame, or just sit and just kind of meditate. That's what nighttime is supposed to be like, so you can recharge properly. So yeah, try to keep it somewhat light for you all. But moving forward into just what we're going to build on briefly tonight. As many of you know, yesterday we did the midday show, right? Today's Wednesday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Yeah, we did the midday show yesterday, and we spoke a bit about, love for the warriors, really embracing and inviting those who have the indomitable warrior spirit, embracing that energy and that vibe into the community, and really acknowledging its necessity and its vital purpose and its vital reason, that warrior vibration. And we spoke about that a bit yesterday, and I think we had a good talk. I think a couple people called in and shared their take on that particular vibration. And I also got some emails afterwards as well. People were pretty appreciative for I guess having that energy validated, and being made clear that no, it's not something wrong with you just because you're not necessarily, you don't fit the mold or the model of the peaceful guru, or maybe even the peaceful warrior. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you, because there's a place for all. And I wanted to speak on that that briefly a little bit tonight, and I'm keeping it loose, so feel free. Anybody who wants to call in and charge up respectfully, feel free to. But I was kind of vibing on that. On sometimes our perceptions of where our conflict lies and how we generate conflict internally, because we lack the ability to see the specialness of all of our working parts, and a lot of that comes from our inability to see the specialness of nature, and to see the specialness of the cosmos. And when I say nature and cosmos, and I say the specialness of nature or the specialness of the cosmos, what I'm primarily speaking of is not the specialness of the the organism as a whole, because as a whole, nature is not special. As a whole, the cosmos is not special. It's the distinctions where we say, okay, well, this one has a speciality in that, and this one has a speciality in this. So it's the distinctions that allow us to see the specialness of each function or each organisms, or what I'm going to call each law. So it's the distinctions that highlight the laws of the cosmos or the laws of the of nature. So, like, for instance, we have a distinction of time, we have a distinction of space, we have a distinction of depth, we have a distinction of matter, we have a distinction of ascension, while we have a distinction of descension. And of course, these are all different laws that exist in the cosmos, that exist in the universe. And the only way to really value, or to really express and embrace the value of those particular distinctions, is to not necessarily try to pervert them because we're uncomfortable with them, or because we're unsure of where they place, or we're unsure of how to use them. We use that terminology a lot of times when we I'm starting already. I don't even know why I looked over at the chat. Right when I looked at the chat, I had my eyes turned away the whole time, and then he typed something that makes me laugh. But he said gonna turn up tonight. But yeah, I'm gonna stare back at the wall again. So yeah, a lot of times we're unaware of how necessary the distinctions are, how necessary the abstractions of each individual unit is, because we see them as conflict. So even a lot of times when we come into our consciousness, the differences that we all come with. So Gloria Cables is telling me she can't hear on the phone. Okay. Someone let me know if you're on Blog Talk and you can hear me. I lost some people on Blog Talk, so maybe other people can't hear me on Blog Talk, which is weird, because usually Blog Talk is a tight spot. It can always be heard on Blog Talk. That's kind of weird. So do me a favor, anybody who's listening on Blog Talk, if you can hear me, hit the number 1. Yep. So I just saw the number 1 light up. So I'm guessing I'm good. Peace, sis. Am I okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay.
All right.
All right, Gloria. So that's you. All right. Something up with your phone. Or maybe Blog Talk is just playing you out, because Blog Talk is a little funny like that. Don't worry. Things will soon change. But yeah, so a lot of times, because we come up in a society that doesn't really value the sacred role of nature, or the sacred role and the embodiment of what we call nature. It sees the differences as conflicting. So then when we start to join different movements or organizations, or even when we have a desire to start different movements or organization, we only think about, homogeny as being the way. Everyone has to do the exact same thing. And in doing that, that's what shows our unity, because sometimes our minds are so simplistic. We don't understand that the beauty and the value and the necessity of distinction, you see. And distinctions are essentially, thank you, Brother Armour. Distinctions are essentially key and necessary in order to sustain the liberty of the actual cosmos. You see, because each law that we find that exhibits itself, I'll give you this idea for a moment. We have the concept of the laws of the universe. You hear those terms a lot, or the laws that govern the cosmos, or the laws of nature, right? It's not a foreign term to many of you. But then we also have the idea of different archetypes. And for some reason, for some strange and odd reason, and a lot of our ATR, or even our metaphysical or occult studies, what I've noticed is that a lot of times people don't speak about the sacred relationship between the laws and the archetypes. And sometimes you find that certain things are not discussed because sometimes people regurgitate a little bit. So if one person doesn't say it, then no one says it. No one, a lot of times, I don't want to say no one's, but a lot of times people are unwilling to be the pioneers who rush out and to do things. They're afraid they'll get shot off their horse. So they wait till someone else starts speaking about it, or someone else tells them that this is relevant information, or they look at the reaction that other people get, and then they go down that path as well. So one of the most or prime examples sometimes you'll hear in that sense is you'll hear, like with Ma'at, people will say, well, Ma'at upholds balance, okay, or Haru restores balance, okay. Y'all getting static already? Come on, don't tell me you're getting static already. I see one person saying it, so I guess I'm about to get 5 to 6 other people telling me that there's static coming through. Yeah, soon as we get started. All right, I'm gonna wait till I see one other person say this static. I'm gonna need confirmation, Brother Antonio, because sometimes it's just on one person's side. I see what you just put in the chat room. This static, it's on Blog Talk. The static on Blog Talk. Yeah, that's weird because Blog Talk is usually tight. Okay, static on Blog Talk or static on Blog Talk and YouTube. Let me know that before I go on. But I'll go on anyway, but just let me know if it's on both sides or if it's just on Blog Talk, because Blog Talk, if it's static on Blog Talk, there's actually not a whole lot. YouTube is clear. All right, then you know what? I'm not gonna worry about Blog Talk too much, because actually there's not much I can do if there's static on Blog Talk. We got a lot of callers on Blog Talk too, and I apologize if there's static. Usually, if there's problems on Blog Talk, it's on their end. There's really not much you can do about it. You just kind of got to wait it out. You have to wait it out. But YouTube, there's little tricks I can do. The most I can do on Blog Talk basically is to hang up and call back. So if it's real ridiculous, you guys let me know. I'll actually do that. I'll hang up on the Blog Talk side, and then I'll call back if it's really bad. So just let me know. But so yeah, in dealing with the my bad is YouTube. Come on, y'all. I figured so, because Blog Talk is usually cool. Okay, so let's see. You remember last time I remember the tricks that I did last time where I was able to clear it up. I'm gonna see if I could try that again. All right, so just give me half a tick. It takes me about 15 seconds to do my little resets over here. So I'm gonna do my resets, and then hopefully everything will be clear. All right, so just give me a moment.
àdúrà ìyá mi ò ṣọ̀gá. Ìmọ̀júbà ẹ̀yin ìyá mi ò ṣọ̀gá. Ọ̀tọ̀nà ẹ̀jẹ̀nu àtọkọ̀jẹ̀tọ̀. Ìmọ̀júbà ẹ̀yin ìyá mi ò ṣọ̀gá. Ọ̀tọ̀nà ẹ̀jẹ̀nu àtọkọ̀jẹ̀tọ̀. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ wòye nìkálẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ wòye nìkálẹ̀ o. Oyè kòkò. Oyè kòkò. Mojúbà ẹ̀yin ìyá mi ò ṣọ̀gá. Ọ̀tọ̀nà ẹ̀jẹ̀nu àtọkọ̀jẹ̀tọ̀. Mojúbà ẹ̀yin ìyá mi ò ṣọ̀gá. Ọ̀tọ̀nà ẹ̀jẹ̀nu àtọkọ̀jẹ̀tọ̀. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ wòye nìkálẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ wòye nìkálẹ̀ o. Oyè kòkò. Oyè kòkò. Ìmọ̀júbà ẹ̀yin ìyá mi ò ṣọ̀gá. Ọ̀tọ̀nà ẹ̀jẹ̀nu àtọkọ̀jẹ̀tọ̀. Mojúbà ẹ̀yin ìyá mi ò ṣọ̀gá. Ọ̀tọ̀nà ẹ̀jẹ̀nu àtọkọ̀jẹ̀tọ̀. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ wòye nìkálẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ wòye nìkálẹ̀ o. Oyè kòkò. Oyè kòkò.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. I just got the word that it sounded clear. All right. So yeah, if it happens again, just let me know. I got a little, Fred Sanford kick on the wall and, knock the side of the drawer thing is working. So yeah, what I was speaking about before I got the notification that you guys were hearing static is that a lot of times we're not aware. We don't look at the cosmos. Sometimes it's not taught to us in this manner that the cosmos or our environment, our manifested and realistic environment is actually a huge organism. It's essentially, when you look at the universe, you're looking at a body. It's just a big body. So within the context of that huge and large body, which if you really crack open some of the deeper wisdom of some of our ancient teachings, especially the Vedic teachings, especially, you get this understanding of the Akashic energy or the universal energy actually being a being itself, not necessarily this empty, vast, infinite space that somehow different organisms and ideas and concepts and planets have manifested within, but it's actually a being. So we live within the body in the reality, or maybe even the dream state of a larger organism or being. You see, so one of the things, like I was saying, sometimes we don't tap into, or it's not really shown to us in this way, that of course you have the universal laws, but then you have different archetypes. Now, some people call those archetypes gods, or they call them deities. I didn't use that word or those words that often. And a lot of times, because of the implication that's associated with them, archetype is a much more accurate description when you start to really learn. When you say gods and deities, it can get confusing quickly. But, you've heard the names, at least you've heard the ideas and the terms of different gods and deities. And we have, sometimes it seems to be this separation between what is law and what is the actual deity, right? And the only time sometimes you'll hear differences when you hear, like with Ma'at or with Haru, you say, okay, Haru restores Ma'at. Ma'at upholds justice and balance. So then you see a direct relationship between an archetype and an actual divine or universal law. But I would posture for you all that it is in fact the law that comes first that gives birth to the archetypes. So the distinctions sometimes that we think we see, and the different gods and the deities or the angels or the Orisha, the Wow, or even the different systems that some of you are invested in, a lot of times we don't, well, some people don't, realize that the distinctions are actually just specializations within a larger organism. You see, so if you look at each one as members of a larger body. And I'm just for example purposes, look at it as like a physical body, right? You got this huge physical body, right? And we'll call that body the universe. And within the universe, it has different organs and different systems that exist inside of it in order to completely full it out so that it can manifest itself into being a full being, you see. And there may be particular energies, like we may look at the liver, or we may look at the spleen of the universe, or the lungs of the universe, or the intestines of the universe, and it becomes very easy to become completely enraptured and the beauty and the amazement of one particular organ. So then what we may do is we may lean heavily on one organ and say, you know what, we all need to be like the heart, or we all need to be like the lungs, because come on, it brings the air and it's the most important. Well, the heart brings the blood through the body. That's got to be the most important. You know, we could just go through each one and we could talk why each one is the best or each one is the most important, because we're constantly in that level of conflict and competition based on the culture that we're raised in. But if we can step back and look at it as a holistic organism and say, no, they're all part of a larger organism, but each one specializes in a different function. So then now if we can hold on to that mentality for a moment, you know, we could take that and say, okay, you know what, we're gonna own that as a moving life philosophy. We're gonna own that. We're gonna, you know, that may work for us. That what we perceive as conflict and as being separate, nature doesn't really see as being separate. Nature only sees its different components as holding and embracing different specializations. You know, that's why when we look in the animal kingdom, we realize that, you know, if you take out one species here, you upset the balance of the entire ecosystem, because there really is no separation. There's specialization. So it would stand to reason that we can apply the same intelligence and the same thought train as it pertains to us and our different personality archetypes and the different spirit projections that we send out into the environment, that we're not necessarily separate from one another, but we represent different specializations of the cosmos. And each specialization is needed, because you can't evolve one without the other, or what you do is you create an imbalance, you see. And a lot of times what happens is because we don't understand the working balance that exists in the cosmos, we don't understand the working balance that exists in nature. Sometimes we don't even understand the working balance that exists within our own body organism. Sometimes because we don't have a clue of that working balance, we'll start to try to go against the actual law. Now, what is going against the actual law? Well, that's what we would call sin. What is sin? Disobedience to God. And, you know, of course, you know, someone like me, I'm going to say, which God? What God are you talking about? There's a bunch of them. You know, so whatever it is, your archetype of influence, and that God could be the God of your heart, the God of your lungs, the God of your liver, the God of your throat. You know, you get the point. The God of your bones, your skeletal system. When you go against that particular law, now going against the law is what? Going against the archetype. Because as I was saying earlier, before the static cut in and I had to kind of diverge on my point, it is the law of the universe that manifests the archetypes, not the other way around. It's not Ma'at who creates justice, or Ma'at who creates harmony, or Ma'at who creates order or reciprocity, or Shango who creates justice or circumspection, or Yemonja who creates healing, or Oshun who creates congregation, or Ogun who creates analysis. You know, if you get the point, right? So it's not the actual archetypes and the energies that are creating these cosmic laws, but in fact, it's the cosmic laws evolving in a natural order, creating the archetype. You see, especially as we are functioning and operating on a three-dimensional physical reality, what you have is a steady movement, right? And this is where we speak about not only the interoperation of the polarities, but we speak about the meeting of the polarities, right? So that you have two polarities, one of consciousness and another polarity of matter. And matter is seeking to rise, and consciousness is seeking to descend. Okay, so it's no different again if you look at your casting surface in Ifa, those who understand the directions of the different quadrants on your Oriopon. And if you look at where you have Eshe, the earth quadrant, meaning to struggle, or where you have Ori, which is the head quadrant, or the air quadrant, you see that there's a movement. Now, what's on the bottom is looking to move upwards. What's on the top is looking to move downwards. And they meet in the center, you see. So when consciousness moves towards matter, they create what we know to be the manifestations, not only of archetypes, but the manifestations of divine beings, you see, through the combination of the two. So it's not necessary that the archetypes, again, create the law, because see, in doing that, we put an assignment and a charge on our ideas of our deities that, for those of you who worship deities or believe in deities, sometimes you put a charge and an idea on them that is far greater than the actual deity. And if you don't see the interoperability and the cohesion between different working parts, as it pertains to these different functions and aspects of nature, you'll see them as separate. And nature doesn't see separation. Nature sees specialization. So you'll say, okay, well, I'm working with this system over here, or I'm a child of Ogun, so I can't do that over there. Or, I'm a child of Oko, so I can't work with Olokun over here. Because, our physical nature, or our dualistic humanistic nature, is constantly working with the ideas of separation, constantly working with the ideas of division. And what happens is, once you do that, once you start functioning from that perspective and from that mindset, you create conflict. You see, so nature's not in conflict. You're in conflict. You're in conflict because you see things as separate. Even when you experience anger, think about sometimes the aftermath of anger, right? And most of the time we experience anger because in some way we feel that someone or something, has offended and transgressed against our being. Something that is separate from us, has kind of fueled and awakened this strong indignation inside of us, and that may lead us to a fury, or may lead us to a rage, and we're brought to a high place of displeasure or a high place of resentment. But ultimately, what we're looking at, or what we're imagining, is that something external has offended our external nature or our external projection, of course, because we see the separation, right? And I'm not saying that anger is a bad thing. So just to be clear, this is not one of those, you shouldn't be angry talks. I'm just speaking about overall just the nature of it. And a lot of times when it comes from, and a lot of times it's a product of us not being gratified, when our desires are not fulfilled, our desires are not filled, and they're not satisfied. Your desire, the seed of what you've wanted, becomes anger. It transforms itself. Feelings inside of you transform. Everything is moving. Everything is vibrating. So nothing stays the same. Your happiness transforms into something. Your displeasure transforms into something. Your desire transforms into something. But you'll notice something that's always present when anger is present, or the feeling of anger is present, right? There's a certain aftermath after anger. And that aftermath is always you're angry with yourself. It never fails. After a bout of rage, after a bout of resentment, after a bout of anger, whatever it is, especially when people ask you, well, you mad? You still mad? Well, I'm more angry with myself. I'm more irritated with myself. You see, so there's a part of you that comes back to, even on a subconscious level, where you start to realize that the source of your discontentment is never necessarily separate from you. So your anger is even though it's an emotional reaction, anger is always spiritual. Always. Every single time. Just like a fight. A fight is never physical. A fight is spiritual. It's always spiritual. You see? So you start to understand that the indignation that I have, or the anger that I have, or the irritability that I have that's generated inside of me is actually me. So after the end of my outburst or my rage or my rant or whatever it is, I always come down to that space where I'm upset with myself, because ultimately that's what it was about to begin with anyway. I was mad with myself. So I'm after this rage, I'm feeling the connectedness between me and this other person, between myself and this other individual. I'm seeing here how the two of us connected, because my nature kicks in. You see, and my nature reminds me again, there is no separation. There's just specialization. So I am not separate from what I consider to be the target. And sometimes we don't believe it. So we have to try to prove it to ourselves. So what we do is we'll consistently repeat whatever it is that upset us in the first place. We'll repeat the lifestyle, we'll repeat the movements. We kind of find ourselves locked in certain cycles without remembering that anger is empowered by repetition. Okay? Anger is empowered by repetition. That's how you keep anger going through repetition. So, just the idea that I'm sharing with you all is related to what we were speaking about yesterday, where sometimes in the psychology of certain folks, they may feel or suspect, or again, there could be some shame that they don't really have a place, that there's no place that they really fit into in terms of the conscious communities, because of some of the feelings that they have, and they have this enormous strength of discontent, or they're constantly finding themselves having to clothe themselves and cloth themselves in self-restraint, and always walking through this gate of self-control. And of course that takes great mental strength to do that, and sometimes people get worn away, and there's always times where their impulses and their emotions are going to flare up, and they're going to want to move into a certain space. And like I said, sometimes before you want to suppress the feelings that you have inside of you, you want to think about, is this a part of the specialization of the universe? What I'm actually feeling, is it a necessary feeling? Because remember, as we cease to fight the natural processes of things, you see, because remember, your job here on the planet is to grow things. That's what you're here to explore, you're here to answer, and you're here to grow and expand things. You're in the realm of density. You're in the realm of matter. The realm of matter, even though it sounds close to the word mother, the realm of matter is actually a positive or a masculine realm. You see, so the masculinity speaks about expansion. So you're here that's men and women. Never get confused when we talk about masculinity and femininity. Don't fall into the separation space, because you have both inside of you. So the masculine energy of you is always looking to expand. So once you condensed, because remember, consciousness falls from above, from the heavens. Matter rises up from the earth, right? They meet in the middle. So each one has to move in some shape, form, or fashion. Each one has to make an expansive movement. So when you're on the planet, your job is to expand. It's to grow, it's to explore. So as you grow and as you explore and as you expand, and especially as you look at the laws of nature and you pronounce and apply these different laws, you expand and you grow the body of the universe out even more. That's why if you look at any concentration that you have, any concentration, I don't care if it's music, if it's just audio, carpentry, architecture, culinary arts, there's laws. Every single art that you're going to have, or anything that you actually have to do on the planet, is going to require an adherence to some sort of law. Some sort of law. Even if you get up and walk, getting up, okay, I'm now interacting with the law of gravity, the laws of friction, the laws of inertia. You see, so you're immediately enacting with certain laws, and a lot of times in the pursuits, especially within the Anglosphere, in their pursuit to control the deities of these different laws, what they'll try to do is pervert them. They'll try to go against them, and what happens is when they go against them, that's when they experience the karmic punishment of trying to upset the body of the universe. Because remember, you're talking about a body. So it's the same thing. If you say, well, I'm not gonna hydrate myself, right? That's just what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna hydrate myself. Well, now you're upsetting some of the laws of your body. Very simple law. You're upsetting the law of elimination within your own body temple. So now you'll have trouble removing toxins out of your body. So now then there's several other things that will happen as a result. Well, the same thing happens in a universal space or in a cosmic space. It's the same exact thing. When you try to go against certain laws, then it's going to be a response, not because I did something bad and now the universe has this personality that says if you do something bad, I'm going to give you a spanking. It's not that. What it is that you're upsetting the balance of the organism. You're upsetting the balance of the body, and the body's not going to function properly. You're messing up the flow. Now, we'll look at it and say, oh, because I did this archetype punished me, or this God punished me, or this, that, without realizing that the gods and the archetypes, if you want to use those words, or the deities, are products of those actual laws. So when you pervert or you attempt to go against or pervert the law, of course you're going against and attempting to pervert that archetype. But all things have a natural bend and inclination. They haven't. So just like a body has a natural inclination towards health. So in order to maintain its health, it's going to correct the imbalances. That's a natural process. So sometimes we look at things inside of ourselves that we may feel a little bit of shame about. And we say, well, what does this fit into? Why was I born with this? Why did I come with this? And we miss sometimes the value of our different manifestations because we miss the value of the objectivity of the universe. You see, a lot of times we're so quick, and and again, there have been people even on like a new Asafo who have espoused, the different things that would make a god, quote unquote, turn from you. If you do this, if you do that inside of your shrine, the energies are going to leave your shrine. They're not going to work with you, and we place these real humanistic values on these energies that were not born out of our humanistic qualities, but in fact were born out of our natural and inherent manifestation of spiritual law. Because essentially you and I are natural and inherent manifestations of law. That's what we are. We're manifestations of the law. It wasn't some God that sat down and said, okay, now let me make you. It was something that made us, and then something that made the God, and then we got into the flow of it. And I'm just using the term God because it's, man makes the gods. The archetypes are different. So just like there's a certain spirit and the energy that follows the beating of your heart. You see, now you can apply, if you want, you can deify that and you can make it a god and say that it's all important. And I listen to my heartbeat 5 times a day, and I salute it. I salute the heart chakra 5 times or whatever. If you want to do that, you're certainly welcome to do that. You see, but again, the question should not so much all the time be where did the deities come from, or where did this personality come from that I may have inside of me. The question should revolve around, where did the law come from? Because the law is inherent. It's inherent in the very makeup, in the very nature, and the very existence of all things. All things are subject to some form of law. Even your archetypes are subject to a law. Because you'll say this one does this one does that. Well, you're ascribing that they are subject to certain laws of their particular energy. So what designed the law? What said that there has to be space? There must be time. There must be congregation. Going back before. So sometimes we get hung up on our personality distinctions. And again, this is a response. It's kind of like a follow-up to a degree of what we spoke about yesterday, just in terms of embracing the warrior spirit. Sometimes we get hung up on our inability to place certain spirits or archetypes within our current social structure, without understanding that the social structure is evolving and growing as the cosmos is. The cosmos is ever expanding. Even though we may want to perceive it as an infinite space, and sometimes in our sophomoric perception of things, it's a growing organism. You can see certain phenomenon across the planet, and I'll speak about that another time, that proves the actual animation of this planet. It proves that it's a living being, it's alive, it has certain functions. You see, so it's growing. Anything that's alive and manifested in 3-dimensional reality is going to change. It's transient, it's temporary. That's why you have stars that burn out. Things burn out, planets end, stars burn out. You see, so everything is expanding and growing. And the more that we align ourselves with the natural and cosmic law, the more we, again, hydrate or fill out or animate the different parts of the cosmic being or different parts of the cosmic body. But if we suppress those things, we create cosmic sickness. You see, it's almost like having a headache and taking aspirin or Tylenol, or I don't even know all the different medicines. I'm not well versed. I took medicine one time I don't even call that stuff medicine. I took a pill once in my entire Tylenol, I think it was, and threw it up within about 40 seconds. My system said, "Nah, man, what are you doing? We don't we don't do little pills and stuff." So I'm not too versed in that stuff, but I know some of the names. But so yeah, when we're suppressing the signals and the signs that are going on, just like when we try to suppress the signs and the signals that our body is giving to us, it creates further sickness. So those of you who come with your quirkiness and your weirdness, or even your desire to heal, your desire to love, I know one of the things, because America is a master at creating insecurity within its citizens. Everybody walks around insecure. America is a great confidence stealer. So a lot of times we walk through life and we have a certain desire to do certain things, and we want to help or we want to love people and things like that. And because we can't find a place to establish those feelings within this society, we give up on those thoughts. We give up on those ideas because there's no place to put it. You see, without realizing in doing that, you're constricting the growth of the body. You're constricting the growth of the human consciousness. You're constricting the growth of the cosmic consciousness. You're constricting the growth of the universal body. When you're constricting your natural inclinations to beauty, or sometimes even your natural inclinations to anger, and where that's coming from and sourcing it, because there may be a problem with that particular law. There may be a clashing of strings or vibrations back there somewhere, and you may be focusing on, like, you may say, well, Kali is a goddess of great destruction. So that's why I get angry sometimes. Well, there's something that created Kali. So you have to make sure your representation and your perception of that archetype is correct. Because remember, you designed the archetype through your thought projection, even though the archetype was manifested through the law. It's a cyclical thing. It's like we're writing a story together, or we're working on a coloring book together. So universe are coloring a book together, but it's the universe that created the contours, and you colored it in. So if you go to each region, you may see Kali. Kali's purple. Another region, she's green. Another region, she's black. She's white. So we're all going to color it in with our different shade of character, but it's the universe that creates the contour of the archetypes as a manifestation of divine law. So the law says it must be space. Okay, so then we have the archetype known as Olokun, who governs the idea of space. Cosmic law says that there must be what we would call dark matter or congealing forces. There must be things that attract forces together. So we have the archetypes of Venus or Aphrodite or Ochun or Shola, or Mami Water. We can go through them. Urzuli Freda. We have all of these different energies that represent and uphold those particular laws. But again, they are ambassadors and ministers of that law. They did not create said law. You see, the law is directly connected with your own consciousness and the consciousness of the cosmos. There's a direct linkage and correlation. That's why I've said to you many times that New Orisha are created every day. Some people think it's just 7. 7 African powers. Or some people think it's just 401. That's impossible. The universe is still expanding. So as the universe is still expanding, new laws will be revealed to us. As new laws are revealed, those laws create new archetypes. You see, it's infinitely growing. It's infinitely changing. So you can never lock yourself down. You can never lock yourself down to the thought that, okay, so I see, Joel, you asked, so the laws are thought forms from the all in all. What's the all in all? So I'm gonna let you answer that question. I saw the question in the chat room. So the laws are thought forms from the all in all. What's that? What's the all in all? Okay. I see more questions. When working on healing the root chakra, how does one control anger of Eshu energy? Eshu doesn't get angry. So you can't control the anger of the Eshu energy. You're talking about forces and archetypes that don't have endocrine systems. They don't feel emotions like you do. So the very nature of the question, you need to think about what you just asked. Because you're perceiving it wrong. You're perceiving the root chakra wrong. You're perceiving that archetype wrong. And then I guarantee you're perceiving the function and the presence of anger incorrectly. Okay, think about that before you say, well, no, okay, let me phrase it like this. Because people like to do that a lot. When they ask a question, I say, well, wait a minute. I say, all right, let me just rephrase it. No, think about why you phrased it that way. Okay. So that's that, that question. Sometimes in spiritual groups, people ask certain questions and you'll have someone who will answer all of your questions. And I know this is a tough one. This is a tough one to think about. I know it is, because what I'm going to say sounds kind of weird. But if all of your questions are answered the exact way you asked them, I can guarantee you're not necessarily getting good information. I know it sounds a little weird, me saying that. A lot of times we ask questions that we don't really understand the elements of the actual question. And if someone doesn't clarify what the elements of the actual question are, or the context. Like Michelle, you just asked, Chief, is anger natural? So now I'm going to ask you, why are you asking that question? What's the premise of the question? Tell me the premise of the question, then I'll give you the answer. So a lot of times people are quick to answer things. Of course, no one has the answer for everything, but sometimes we're asking the wrong questions and we don't realize it because we don't even understand what we're asking. You see, like I had someone ask me recently, they said, okay, so when you're doing, what was it saying? Like, basically, I've been doing work with the Orishas and the Odus. And I said, you sure? You've been doing work with the Orishas and the Odu? Actually, he said the Orisha and the Odu. And I said, well, what's an Odu? And they said, well, it's an Orisha. So see, if I were to answer a question surrounding that, the very premise, the root of the question is wrong because the person doesn't understand the terms of their actual question. So I would throw that back to all three of you who just asked those questions. Joel asked, so the laws of thought are thought forms from the all in all. And I'm saying, what's the all in all? Gina Lacey said, when working on healing the root chakra, how does one control anger of Eshu energy? And like I said, you got some wrong stuff there in the question. So you got to think about that. And then Michelle asked, Chief, is anger natural? And of course I said, what's the premise for the question? Okay. So think about it, think about it a little bit. That's good, Seeking Wisdom. I'm glad things are firing off for you. You got that bomb in Gilead, that healing bomb. We all need that. We all need that healing. But think about those questions that you're asking. Qualify each term. Because you know what I do when you guys ask me questions. Why are you asking that? What do you mean? What about this word? I want to make sure you know every word that you're saying. Because sometimes the very questions that you're asking, I've already answered in what I just was saying. And I'm going to tell you something. For all of you, the three of you just asked those questions, I actually already answered them. So Michelle says, as I went through this equinox, I saw my anger towards myself around my dad's death. This anger has always been there. I just never had a healthy outlet. I am thinking anger from childhood was never, I don't know what 2BC means. I guess that's shortened form or something. This anger has always been there. I just never had a healthy outlet. I am thinking anger from childhood was never something. Now, I've already taught you in previous shows that anger is a product of hurt. You can't be angry and not be hurt. So now you're basically asking me, is being hurt natural? See, so that's what I'm saying. Sometimes I already answer the questions that y'all ask me, but sometimes you just kind of let me know how much you're listening, and how much you're not. But I've said that in so many different shows. We're getting ready to go to archives. 90 seconds. We're going to archives, everyone. But I've already said that in so many shows, that anger is a product of hurt. And it goes from hurt to anger, the healing. So if you ask me, is anger natural? Then we'd have to say hurt is natural. And do you think being hurt is natural? Did you come into the world hurt? And were you put here to be hurt? Now, that would be the questioning. I mean, that would be the question, So that's why a lot of times 60 seconds. All right, lady, I know. So that's why a lot of times when those questions like that I ask, I'm not trying to be antagonistic when I'm like, hold on, wait a minute, what are you saying? Trust me, I'm not trying to be rude or antagonistic, but I'm teaching you. So sometimes if I just answer the question directly like that, you don't get the education. You get the training. So, Chief, is anger natural? No. But you still don't know what you just said. You still don't know what you just asked me or why you asked me. So I just trained you because I just told you what to think. Now you can go somewhere else and say, well, Chief says anger is not natural. I don't want that. You have to own it. You have to have that answer yourself. You got to understand it yourself.
10 seconds.
10 seconds. Okay, cool. That's the last time she's going to come in with her proper sounding self. So, you know, if I say, hold on, wait a minute, why are you asking that? What's the premise? This, that, and we get a little deeper into it, then you can really get understanding, not training. My job is to educate you, not to train you. Okay. Now, Joel said, after I asked about him expanding on his question, the all is all. I guess you're saying the all in all. The all in all would be the full aspect of the universal consciousness that we all as people on this planet share. Well, if we as people on the planet share that universal consciousness, then how can it be all? Because then I guess you're saying consciousness is everything. And if it's a consciousness that we all share, then essentially all doesn't extend beyond the planetary mind. Right? So would that be right? Think about your question. Because based on your description of the all in all, and let me see if I can scroll up to your original question, Joel. Okay, so the laws are thought forms from the all in all. So you're asking me, are laws thought forms from the universal consciousness that we as a people on this planet share? So then essentially you're asking, the consciousness that is held within the cosmic mind of human beings, does that consciousness create cosmic law? Even though I told you that cosmic law creates the beings. As soon as I hit sin, I knew that wasn't it. Okay, good. So you're realizing it was off. Good. Like I said, I don't want to just be like, no, that's wrong. You know, that doesn't really help you, you know, for me to do something like that. You know, it may make me seem smart, like, wow, Chief got the answer to everything, but I don't care anything about that. You know, I want you all to be smart, you know, so think about what you're saying and try to apply it to things that I've previously taught. Like I said, don't segment things so much when I'm teaching. You know, you want to try to look at it holistically. And sometimes because somebody is going through a certain thing or feeling a certain emotion, they try to extract it to get one particular thing to prove their point, you know, or to prove their stance or where they want to be. You can't do it like that. That's not the way you come into this consciousness. You're not going to get it that way. So T. Lee asked, if the laws are constantly being made, how do we keep up? I didn't say the laws were constantly being made. So I can't even answer that question because the first premise of the actual, I know it seems like I'm being a stickler tonight, right? I'm not. I just don't want to do all the work for you. You're going to have to do some of the work. If you listen to what I was saying about laws, you wouldn't have asked it. Well, you wouldn't have said if the laws are constantly being made. I didn't say the laws were constantly being made. Okay. It's not. And even the idea of how do we keep up, I've actually already explained that. Y'all got to listen. I'm just going to have to say it like that. All right. I don't mean to sound mean or anything like that, but you got to listen more. You got to listen a lot more. Stop washing dishes and stuff while the show is on. Tune in to what's being said. You're getting a lot and you may not realize it because sometimes you only want to get the part that you want. You know, that's that thing I was talking about previously sometimes where people don't know how to bring value. I'm not talking about any of you right now who are talking, but now designs by design. Here you go. Didn't he say deities are constantly being made? LOL. I was washing the dishes too, of course. Now, T. Lee said, if the laws are constantly being made, how do we keep up? Designs by not defined said, didn't he say deities are constantly being made? See, that's two different statements. All right. And even when I said deities, remember I said if that's what you want to call them. But yeah, that's closer to what I said. Now, why are deities constantly being made? The laws are already present. Remember, I said that the laws are inherent in all of existence. So the laws are already present. As we evolve, then we manifest the laws in this realm, which creates other, well, the law creates the archetypes, but we color in the archetypes. The contour of the archetypes are created by the law. So let's look at it like this. I'm gonna give it to you even more simply. There's a bunch of colors sitting up in the universe somewhere. And because we're like little babies, you know, babies when they're real young, they don't see all the colors. Like very young children can't see violet or purple, for instance. Right. So Bamboo or Joel says, I was sending emails and should have been listening. Right. This is one of the reasons why, listen, and I don't want y'all to think I'm getting on you. I'm just talking. I'm not getting on any of you. I'm just talking. This is why I don't always answer all the questions. Because you think I'm going to sit here and be breaking all this stuff down and giving you all this free information, and then on top of that, compensate for your lazy scholarship, your lazy listening? I know it sounds mean. I know it does. And if I was trying to sell you something, I probably wouldn't have said it to you. Because then I'd be afraid that you're not going to buy whatever I'm going to try to sell you at the end of the show. but I'm not trying to sell you anything. So I'm going to be honest with you. Some of y'all are lazy listeners. You're just lazy listeners, and y'all ask some real lazy questions. And sometimes your questions cause me to have to go back to stuff that I've said 15,000 times. You want me to say it again? That's not very nice. That's not very nice to me to try to do that to me. That's not very respectful. Don't you appreciate this time that we get to share together? Don't you appreciate it? All right. So don't piss me off. No, I'm playing. So no, just, you know, you gotta kind of tune in a little bit better. Like Michelle just said here, I'm trying to normalize my hurt and dysfunctions. Right. You will normalize your hurt and dysfunctions and get these questions answered when you take in the whole of what I'm saying. Don't try to just cue into what you want. See, that's the separation that we're talking about. You're not taking in the whole of the organism. That happens too often. Like when I speak, I'll be speaking in the middle. Somebody say, all right, chief. All right, look, this is what I want to know. What you want to know is not relevant. You think it's relevant, but it's not. Because if you knew the things that you were supposed to know, you wouldn't have to listen to me. You'd already be totally on point. Just like a child can't sit on their plate and say, well, I don't want the vegetables. You know, you let a child eat what they want, they're going to eat bread with ketchup on it every day. That's all children want to eat when they give me bread. I just want bread. Well, I got to eat eggs. Well, I want bread. You see? So you say, nah, you don't really understand how your body works like I do. So you're going to have to eat some of this kale, brother, sister. You got to eat some of this spinach over here. You know, you got to eat some of this other stuff, man. You can eat bread every day. You know, if you give your children bread. So, yeah, you just got to kind of tune in a little bit, but you got to take it all. You know, you got to take it all in, because all of it gives you the answer. Trust me on that one. All of it gives you the answers. So FXRBES, let's see what you're saying. Let's hopefully you ain't saying something crazy, because sometimes you be talking kind of crazy. When you guys are speaking of law, are we speaking universal law, such as the above, so below, etc.? I'm just now tuning in. Okay, well then that's a question for the chat room. Because the laws are constantly there. Exactly. So that's what I was saying earlier. Look at it like this. There's a bunch of colors sitting in the universe, right? But because we have baby eyes, we're not evolved yet. Because we haven't worked with the laws that are on our plate. I mean, this is basically what I'm saying right now to all of y'all. It kind of applies. So because we have baby eyes, because we haven't applied the laws that are apparent, we're not able to really notice the final laws yet. But as we start to apply and go with the natural occurrence and natural existence of the laws that currently exist, and we learn about those laws through the manifestation of archetypes. So the law manifests Oshun, Ogun, so you go right through all of them, right? And then we learn about those particular archetypes, which helps us to learn about the law, and then we become infilled. Now, sometimes we become infilled with those laws by actual ritual and ceremony or possession. Oshun comes down, Ogun comes down. You get filled with their energy. You know, sometimes it's through actual possession that we receive those energies. You see, and now that's what's being called filled with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is being filled with the righteousness. The righteousness is what? It's the law. Righteousness is having the law of the Most High alive inside of you. That's being filled with the Holy Spirit. You see, so in our systems, that's having the energy or the ashe of these different archetypes alive inside of you. So now you get through those archetypes, and now all of a sudden you can see colors you weren't seeing before. So you see, wait a minute, there's another coloring book, but it's been there the whole time. I just didn't see it before. It's been there. So then you grab that coloring book and you color it in. So essentially, you're helping to make the deity God / Orisha / archetype, but it was already there because it was manifested by the law, because the law was inherent. It was there. Just like there's parts of your body you don't know about, but it's there. And as you learn more and you grow, you say, oh, wow, I didn't know I had that, or this or that or that or that, you see? And then you might put a name to it. You might say it looks like this, feels like that. And, you know, you become more aware of it because now that you're aware of its presence, you have the ability to, I'm about to shout. Come on, you're making me laugh. So now that you, I have a bunch of comedians in the room tonight. But now that you have the awareness that it's presence, you're able to place your consciousness inside of it. You see? So right now, if I need to, I can become any Orisha I need to become because of the fact that I'm aware that that Orisha exists. So I can say, you know what? I don't feel like talking tonight to these people, man. They don't even listen. I'm getting sick of them. And then I tell them to hit like on the video. I get 1,000 listeners on the video and I get 10 likes. You know, I'm just saying, hypothetically. So I might say, so I'm going to need to pull some other kind of energy to be this right now. Well, let's see. Who am I aware of? I'm aware of all these different archetypes that will give me the character that I need to speak tonight or to speak right now. Because I'm aware of them, now I can take my consciousness and shift them into that space. It's just like, you know, sometimes when you breathe, you do breathing exercises, people will say, breathe from your anus. You don't breathe from your anus. And then they'll say, breathe from your diaphragm or breathe from the top of your head. I don't listen, man. I breathe from my nose and my mouth. Anything after that is I'm imagining, because essentially what they're telling you to do is put the consciousness of what your breath represents into those different spaces. You're moving them around. Well, what is an Orisha? Selected or seated consciousness. I don't really want to have to define that word again. I really don't. Okay. But so it's that selected consciousness. So now as I become aware of the different streams of consciousness that exist in this infinite body that we call the universe, I'm now able to become them and to see and to shift my awareness into them. You see, we do that when we meditate. I might have an issue with my foot or something. And I say, okay, well, I'm going to shift my awareness down into my foot. What is it like to be a foot? And all of my being is going to go into that part of my body. Then it might be my elbow or my eyes or my breathing or my heart. You see, I'm shifting it around. Or your chakra system. We do the same thing there. But as I become aware of each coloring book, and that's what I want you to look at. Look at the archetypes as blank coloring books. They're just lines. They have contours. So the laws of the universe creates these contour figures. White piece of paper with black outline. And then your matter as it meets, because remember, matter is rising, consciousness is descending. You see? But you have to meet it. So let's say if matter consciousness only falls, let's say from the sky, it only falls to 50 feet, 50 feet above ground level, right? Let's just say that. So any ground level you're at, whether you're on a mountain or wherever, it's going to be 50 feet above your head, to make it simple. So that would mean that the average person is not going to see that consciousness until they raise up their matter body up 50 feet. They have to make their matter body light. Now, y'all better not ask me in that chat room, well, how do we make ourselves smaller? Don't do it. I swear I'll hit the end button on this whole show tonight. You won't see me after the solstice. Cause why should be some clown that doesn't anyway? I want to be call his bluff. So what I'm saying is that, so as we evolve and we ascend, our matter body rises, consciousness falls, we meet it in the air. Let's say, and I'm just 50 feet, I'm just saying hypothetically. So it's not 50 feet. You know, I'm just trying to give you all an illusion, you know, a image, a vision. So we rise up to the 50 feet, we touch the consciousness. Now there's things that's joining. We pull out our crown, and the consciousness gives us the contour that says, okay, which is the consciousness. It's the law of consciousness. But it was been there the whole time. It's just you couldn't see it up there. You see? And the more, it's almost like the movie The Highlander. The more heads you kill, the stronger you get. The more archetypes you take on and the more you grab, the more you can see. So now you take on another switch. Like, let's say you become conscious of your left foot. Well, what's going to happen? Because think about a baby. And I know you might not be able to think back this far, but you don't think that a baby becomes consciousness of its whole body at the same time. I guarantee you it doesn't notice its left and right hands together. It notices one, then the other. It notices one foot, then the other foot. One eye, then the other eye. One ear, then the other ear. You see, but it has to notice one and become aware of one in order to become aware of the other. You see, so as law descends and law evolves the archetypes. And there's new archetypes that are created because we're creating them with the cosmos. We're coloring them in, but they've been there. Like we look at, okay, Oshun, congregation. If you think about this for a second, because science has proven that man has actually existed on the planet for at least 15 million years. Okay, now, are we to say that prior to 15 million years, there was no love? There was no law of love? There was no law of congregation? You have certain animals that existed on the planet before what science tells us, before man existed? Unless you go by the biblical story, then of course, you know, it'd be well, actually, it'd be the same thing, you know. But so even in that sense, there are things that existed before your human awareness of it, which is saying before your matter caught up to your consciousness. I know it sounds a little complex, and that's because you're probably thinking in terms of separation. Like the laws and the consciousness exist out there somewhere separate from you, without you realizing that it's just a reunion of matter and consciousness. Because remember, consciousness creates a law. Law drops to the earth. I'm giving you a simple, real macro. I'm giving it to you again, but even simpler. Law creates humans, we'll say. But the law is still sitting up there, and it only deposits a little bit of itself in order to create the human. So the same law that exists in the inherent body of the consciousness is the same law that exists inside of humans. And the more they enact that law through repetition, the more they build themselves up taller, like giants. When they become taller like giants, then they're able to touch the rims of the consciousness that once created them. Now, we call that going to the realms of the gods and stuff like, we got all kind of fly ways of saying it. I'm going to Mount Olympus. I'm going up yonder to Mount Olympus to be with Zeus. We got all kind of fly ways to say it. But, essentially you're reconnecting with your higher consciousness. And it's your higher consciousness that maintains or the that is a product of the inherent essential law. Now, again, like I said earlier, what does that inherent essential law come from? I don't know. I don't know. See, we don't know. Now, some people will say, "Oh, it comes from here." They don't know. If you really understand what I'm talking about, then you'll understand that there's practically no way for you to know. You don't know. You know, there's something that exists behind the archetype, something that exists behind the God. That's why I tell you all the time, like, yeah, God, that's a small thing. We ain't getting so on the God, because there's something before the God. Because remember, the God is a defined point. Once you can say this is a God, especially if you have a name for that God, then all you did was color in an outline. That's all you did. So that's just another archetype that you discovered that was created by the law, the inherent law of the cosmos. Okay, but there was something that created that law created that archetype with your contribution. You see, so when you color in the God, let's say we'll use that term, you make it evil, or you make it happy, or you make it jealous or vengeful or angry. That's the colors that you colored in. But the law already gives you its actual contour. And sometimes as we grow, we color in more of it. We say, oh, wow, there was a part here I didn't even see. There was another shape to it that I missed. Let me color that in, or color that in. And, and then we get a fuller picture of that actual deity. And then once we do that, we see other deities. We say, all right, cool, I got this one. We put it in our notebook. We go to the next one. If we do it right. But some of us get caught on one. We get addicted and caught. All right, now I'm going to go to Gina Lacey. She says, I guess this is your you examined your question, I'm guessing. You said, thank you, Chief. I was advised to work on healing my root chakra by a holistic therapist. A lot of rage and anger been coming out. I thought Eshu lives in the root chakra. Well, Eshu doesn't live per se in the root chakra, but even if Eshu did live in the root chakra, you said the anger of Eshu. Why would you blame your anger on Eshu? If I get angry, I don't blame my refrigerator just because we live in the same house together. Think about that. I'm not trying to be slick with your sister, but just think about what I'm saying to you for a second. And then you had a holistic therapist who told you need to heal your root chakra. Well, I would be curious to know if they told you what to do to heal your root chakra, and if you've done those things yet. As of yet, I'm wondering if you've done those things that you were given to do just yet, or if you're still just kind of, or if you're waiting. Okay. Bella Mars says it's just like when you first awaken to spirituality / consciousness, you have to open up a little bit of your consciousness to get a glimpse of understanding and overstanding of the new info. All right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You got to open up a little bit, so you can, so you can take some of the stuff in. Sure. Anwar says, so matter and consciousness are always stretching for growth and evolution. Yes. And they are always stretching for growth and evolution, but their natural inclination are growth and evolution. The only time when there's a conflict is when we try to get in the way of the natural process of what they're already doing. When you came into the planet, you're growing right now as we're talking, you're growing. So if you're growing, you're changing. That's just a natural process. And everything mirrors everything. And it's sometimes we get dumb, and we want to stop the process. We're afraid of the process. We want to shoot. You got people, heck, they just threw that dude in jail, the transgender dude. I don't know if you guys saw the news story. The fake, he was posing as a doctor. Well, he was posing as a girl, I guess, and a doctor. And he was doing all of those injections, putting tire inflator in women's behinds and and liquid cement and all kind of craziness, you know. And they gave him some crazy years in jail recently, you know. So that's an example of, you know, sometimes people are changing. We grow, you know, things drop, our bodies change and stuff like that. And we want to fight the growth. We want to fight the aging, you know. So we do plastic surgery and skin pulls and tucks and whatever. Well, I don't do it. I mean, you know, clearly. But, you know, so that's an example of fighting what's already natural, you know. Bamboo says, I guess I have an elementary understanding of the all in all. I thought consciousness was the expression or the thought of the thought or the all in all. It is. It is. But there's different levels of consciousness. So you don't want to limit. There's different streams of consciousness. So a rock is consciousness. The sun is consciousness. The moon is consciousness. A star is consciousness. Your consciousness. You know, so there's different expressions of the consciousness. The all in all, quote unquote, doesn't have a monopoly on consciousness. FXRBES sounds like you says even solar system is its own being. The sun in these systems is the creator. Our sun is our creator. Nah, you bugging out. Nah. That's the opposite of everything I've been saying this whole time. You bugging out, young man. I didn't say anything like the sun is our creator. How? Nah, The sun is an expression of the law. The sun is not our creator. No. Nothing physical is going to create you a being, an existence that has sentience. No, don't explain. Let me explain. Don't explain. You don't know what you're talking about. You're saying the wrong thing. Don't explain. No, you don't try to teach me something. Go back and listen to the show. What you just said is off. The fact that you said our sun is our creator, you can't explain that one. You can't. You got to go back and listen. Go back and learn, man. Come on. Get out of here with that. And I know who you are because you're the one contacting me on Instagram. That's why I'm talking so familiar with him. Just so everybody listening, so y'all don't think I'm just jumping on somebody random. You know, but nah. And I told you back on Instagram, you need to go back and listen to the shows. This was one of them people. See, he ain't got no picture on his thing, so I could talk about him. But he was like, you know, one of the people contacted me for private lessons. Yeah, I need to get some private lessons for you. And I said, hey man, are you in the class at least that you study any of this and that? Nah. Come on, man, go ahead with that. So now he coming with this, the sun is a creator. Let me explain. Nah, man. You're talking rubbish. No, man, we passed that. Now that sounds good in the conscious community to say something like that. Father, Son, and Mama Moon. You know, because I want to meet you in person. Yeah, we're going to meet in person. But don't be trying to teach me nothing when we meet in person, man. You know, fall back. Stand down. You know what I mean? Go back through the lessons, man. Come on. Go back. Don't try to always try to make me start over from the beginning. You know, everything that we've taught and we've learned teaches us, you know, I even just spoke about, the laws generate the, maybe that is what it is, Brother Antonio is trolling. Maybe I'm old school. I don't really, he might be trolling. He might be trying to break up the energy, you know, but, so let me go back to Sister Gina, because Gina's consistent. She's been down. I've been seeing your name on videos and stuff for a while now. You know, I told you I remember all of y'all. Yes, Chief, doing root chakra healing, grounding techniques, meditating, healthy cooking, working with black obsidian crystals, and more. All right, we'll do all that stuff. Start there. And then after you do that stuff, see where that gets you. You know, before you start throwing in other understandings, like, okay, well, that shoe is there, so let me do this too. Let me do that. If you've already gotten a diagnosis from someone, you know, I would advise you start with what they gave you, you know. and then kind of see where that takes you. I'm breaking up on YouTube. All right, that's cool because we're getting ready to leave. I'm getting ready to head out anyway. Um, Let me see. Actually, I'm gonna do my little trick. Give me a second. I don't know if it'll work for me twice. Give me 1 second. Got to do a bunch of different little things here. All right, let me know if I'm still breaking up on YouTube. Yeah. So you just let me know if I'm breaking up or not. I heard I'm starting to get static. You know, around this time, because you know, usually when I'm getting ready to close the show down is when I get relaxed and I start to give more information. Those last 10 minutes, you know, and then that's when everything breaks up. But yeah, you gotta really, this is why I encourage you all a lot of times to study. Oh, it's clear. Okay, beautiful. Yeah, sometimes I gotta just change the settings around. But I encourage you all to study with each other. And I know you don't as much, you know, because you can move faster that way. Remember, in indigenous forms, we learn in groups. That is something I've been saying since the very beginning. We learn in groups. But everyone keeps trying to do their own thing. And then y'all not getting anywhere. You're asking me questions that I answered 4 years ago. You know, now if you were learning in groups, somebody would say, oh, no, he covered that. Da, 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 da. You would move forward much faster in that sense, you know. Yeah, you're more than welcome, Sister Gina. Like I said, just, you know, before you mix it up, start with because if somebody worked with you and they did a diagnosis, you know, that holistic therapist, and then they gave you a prescription, start there. You know, start there. I'll tell you this though, and I'm not trying to undermine that person's prescription. So I'm telling you, I don't know that doctor. I don't even know if they're any good. But I'm saying whatever they tell you, go ahead, try that out first. But I'll just share this with you. Anger doesn't come from your root chakra. Okay. So just so you know, you can meet some of Obatala people, some of the most angriest people you'd ever want to meet. And they functioning from the crown chakra. Anger comes from hurt. Most of the time when we're feeling hurt, we may feel bruising in our ego. But if you go through each chakra designation, there's an opportunity to feel hurt. It's just different things that get hurt. You know, you might go to the root. Oh man, my ego is hurt. You know, my ego is bruised. But you know, then you might go to the solar. You say, oh man, you know, I'm damaged in my ability to project myself and to be myself. You know, so I'm angry that I'm not able to be myself. You might go to the throat chakra and say, I'm unable to really see the complexity of my character, and therefore I'm unable to really speak my own power out into the world. I'm hurt in that space. So I'm angry about that. So whenever I open up my mouth, mean things come out. So which chakra are we blaming it on? So you start to realize that you will express your anger. You'll express your anger through your chakra wheels, but it doesn't generate inside of the chakra wheels. Okay. So I don't want to, again, I don't want to seem like I'm undermining what another person said to you, you know, or what another healer or anything said to you, anything. I don't want to do that, but I'm just saying, before you mix things in, you know, go with that prescription first, because you'll probably end up confusing yourself more than anything else if you try to do that. You know, get an understanding before you say, oh, it's Eshu's anger. Like I said, Eshu doesn't get angry. Now what? These archetypes, you know, sometimes we don't realize how objective these archetypes actually are. So it's not Eshu doesn't get hurt. You can read any story about Eshu getting hurt. You know, so no, that's a different type of place, you know. And again, a lot of times, like I said, when we're feeling that conflict, is because we're going against natural law. Now I know See, things that I say that require you all to stand up and do what you're supposed to do, everybody ignores that. And that's the questions y'all come back with next show. So how do I do this? I already explained how to do, but you didn't want to hear it. You didn't like the answer. Like if somebody asked me, no one asked me on this show, but let's just say if someone said, okay, how do I get fear out of my life? I did a whole show on fear, and I've been breaking down fear forever. But if I say this, you know what? Get you, some citrine. You want a citrine crystal, and what you do is you strap the citrine and put it under your armpit, and then you put a quartz on the left side of your pillow, so it's on the left side of your head. You'll start to drain that fear energy out of you, and give some apples to Shango's, because Shango's courage. Give him some apple and some incense. Some cinnamon incense to encourage you. Everybody be writing that down. Like, all right, so what kind of apple? Red apples? Green apples? Then everybody gets into it. But if I speak about controlling and mastering your own mind, which is one of the main purposes of life, learning to master your mind, y'all, like, it goes in one ear and out the other. You ignore that because that's not the easy, comfortable answer that you want. So then when I say, I already taught on this, I taught you this, I broke this down already. It's like, ugh. So he's going to give me that answer? I didn't want that answer. I wanted the external answer. I wanted you to tell me I get rid of fear by, doing boom shakalaka and shaking a stick with a skull on the end of it and spraying some rum out into the air. And then I won't be fearful anymore. But if I start to speak to you about the generators of these particular emotions inside of you, people don't really want to hear that as much. Your psychology is just as much. Think about when we talk about consciousness. What are we talking about when we say consciousness? Think about that for a second. Consciousness. What is conscious? As soon as you say the word consciousness, it relates to the mind. It may not relate to the brain, but it's relating to the mind. And if we say Orisha, selected consciousness, well, consciousness again. So obviously, at some point, we're talking about a mind that's sitting somewhere. Something's mind. I won't even say someone, but something has a mind somewhere that's creating all of these different streams of cognition. So then now, if we speak about psychology, it's relevant because we're speaking about a mind. And our mind is a microcosmic representation of the macrocosmic, akashic, or universal mind. So when I say, okay, you got this problem, you got to deal with your subconscious. You got to deal with your psychology. Now, I'll throw in Olokun rituals in there because Olokun represents is the subconscious mind. But let me tell you something. Let me give you a little something. And I can say this to y'all because half y'all ain't going to hear it anyway. I only do that so that you'll listen. Just like sometimes I do readings, I only throw my opwele because if I give you the guidance directly from me, you ain't gonna listen. So I got to put on a show sometimes. Like the incense, had the music playing, doing the opwele, I'll speak Yoruba. And you feel like, all right, now Baba getting into it. Baba about to drop it. He about to give me some guidance that's coming from Ifa. Not from him, because he don't know nothing, because he just a nigga. Somehow this monkey figured out how to work this divination system. So I'm just gonna wait till I get the information from the monkey, as he brings it from the divination system. So I'm telling y'all, man, but it doesn't matter because a lot of y'all ain't gonna hear what I just said. Y'all ain't gonna remember it. You're not even gonna get what I'm saying to you. So I can throw that out there, but trust me, man, you got to deal with the psychology. Psychology is, that's the key. You remember, just like the universe creates archetypes through cognition, you're creating experiences in your life through cognition. You see, FXRBES. I'm about to block you in a minute. I don't know if you high, because I know you're a young boy. I don't know if you sitting over there high or you just like focus in, man. Tune in. You're gonna ask me if I'm an Aquarius or whoever you talk to. Tune into what we talking about, man. Dad. I might have to adopt you. Yeah, I might have to bring you through the family training camp. I might have to adopt you. You know. But yeah, just give some thought on it, man. I'm telling you. Just give some thought. It's you're dealing with the mind. Whether you're dealing with your own, and please, I'm not saying brain. I'm talking about the mind. It's different. The brain is different from the mind. You're dealing with the universal mind that is so brilliant that it creates all of these different streams of cognition. And then it deposits a seed of its own cognition within you. And because remember, there is no separation. Oh, static on YouTube. Damn, we were doing good. We were doing good. All right, give me a second. And I'm gonna make one more statement, then I'm out of here. Cause y'all starting to wear me out. No, I'm messing with you. That should have cleared it up. Hopefully that cleared it up. But again, you're dealing with the stream of cognition that's coming from a higher supreme mind. And any system that you look into, even when you have the Trinity, you're always going to have that element of the all-knowing. The all aware, all knowing, omnipresent, all powerful. But you notice the mind aspect is always present. You look at the 7 hermetic laws, all things of the mind. Even science says the substance that makes up reality is the same substance that makes up mind matter. Everyone has kind of figured that one out. So even when you're dealing with your different indigenous systems, you want to really be dealing with the mentality, the mental formulas that are creating and opening up different chambers of the mind. Because then now you're connecting with your God self, because your God self is projecting this gigantic supreme intelligence. I drop little hints on y'all. Read Grasping the Root of Divine Power. You see, I either refer to the Supreme Being as the Supreme Being, omnipresence. 1, I gave you the 0 and 1. That was my little hint to tell you that the Supreme Being is created by male and female. That's why I said I'll just call it the 1. But notice when I put 1, I didn't just put the number 1. I put 0 and 1. That was a hint. Or I called it the Supreme Intelligence. I'm dropping the hints, man. Y'all gotta read. Y'all gotta listen to the little things. I don't waste words. Trust me. Everything I say is something. The only things that's not something is when I'm saying and And I only say and so I don't give you filler. I don't do small talk. I don't even do small talk with my children. We don't even do small talk. We don't know how. We're not into that. So whatever I'm saying, it's for an orchestrated purpose. You see? So in the same instance, the conversations surrounding your psychology are more important, believe it or not, than the conversations surrounding your ritual. Because your ritual really, ultimately, just like your magic, the whole purpose of your magic is to hypnotize you. And what does it hypnotize you into doing? Into reflecting your higher consciousness. That's all. You're tricking yourself into thinking that you're not on the earth right now. That's why when you do rituals and things like that, you don't feel present in your body. You got to trick yourself for a little while to get out of the body. So you can be that, you can catch up. You can go that 50 feet in the air and meet your consciousness and grab that sheet of paper out of the coloring book. Yeah, I know. It's kind of weird. There's a lot to it. I was almost going to say maybe I'll go into it at another time, but I don't think I am. Yeah, some things you got to go back and get the foundations if you're really trying to get it. And if you're not really trying to get it, then, zombie apocalypse, baby. You're going to be caught up in a zombie. You're going to be zombie food. Okay. So, if you're really trying to get this thing, you're going to have to go back and really dissect the words that I'm saying to you. Okay, you're gonna have to really go back and dissect what I'm saying. That especially goes for y'all who think you flew through phase one. And I'm gonna say it one more time because I have to send an email to someone. She might even be on the air. Let me scroll up and see if I see you. Matter of fact, I don't think so. Oh, there you are. I see you. Yeah. So someone, if she's still listening, sent me an email. Yeah, I see you on the chat list, and said that, oh, I'm finished with phase one. When is phase two coming out? So I'm going to say it again. I've said it 100 times. I'm going to say it for you and anyone else listening. If you cannot teach phase one, you are not finished with phase one. If you cannot teach my books, you did not read my books. And nothing that I've presented, whether it be in books or the videos that I have for sale on Vimeo, none of those things can you sit down and listen to in one sitting and say, I got it. I know you all who are listening. None of you can do, because even you advanced people can't do that. I know that. And I'm not saying I'm all that and I know it. I'm not saying that. Please, I hope you don't take it that way. But I know the way I constructed things, and I know where a lot of you are. So when you go through a phase one and then you come back and say, I got it, where's phase two? And I say, okay, give me an invocation for Oshun. And you go, well, I don't know. I guess I got to look in your book. Then you didn't do it. Go back again. All right. And I mean, I've done that so many times where people have come to me, oh, I finished this, and I give them one little question. Okay, what is the southern quadrant represent in the Oreo poem? Huh? Man, come on. If you can't teach it, you didn't do it. Now that's the way I teach. That's why I haven't released phase two yet. Phase two been sitting in the cut for for like 4 years now. Done. And I decided, like, maybe a couple months, I was like, man, I'm just gonna put them out there, screw it. But that's why I didn't release it yet. Now some of y'all think it's a game and some of y'all are taking it serious, but I just need to put that out there so y'all don't bother me. Oh, I'm done. What you got? Don't come to me. Don't bother me. You're annoying me with that. If you can't teach it, you didn't learn it. Now you might say, well, yeah, of course I don't have it down packed like that now. It's going to take a while. Right. Exactly. It's going to take a while. When you get through that, then come back and talk to me. I want you to understand that. And I'm not trying to be mean in that, but sometimes we develop very poor study habits because of our Western training systems, where you just memorize something for the test on Friday and you can forget about it after that because you're never really going to use it again. But those of you who went on our last leadership retreat, y'all got caught out there with that. I'm not going to call anybody's names, but you remember what happened when we set up those shrines and I said, okay, now do the invocations, and everybody's looking for their copy of Grasping the Root of Divine Power, which led me to dismantling the leadership council. I was thoroughly disappointed. No one had even the Arikis for their own energies memorized. You and Eshun or Shango, you don't even know your own Ariki. Then you ain't got it. So for that person who asked that, and I told you recently in a reading who you come under, you're an Oshun energy. Because mess around, I'll call you right now after this show. Give me the Ariki to Oshun. What does her name mean? What is Iyalode? That means the Oshun show too. You better know it in and out. If you don't have all that, man, don't come around me. I don't mean to sound mean. I really don't. I don't mean to sound mean. But I'm just saying, if you don't have those things, you're not ready to have a conversation with me for the next level. Because I'm going to be saying things to you based on an assumption that you have some of the things I laid down before. And I'm not going to keep going back to 0 point because you don't want to take things seriously. So now I got to go back and wait for you to look for the page in the book or not know how to do certain things, or I say, okay, well, you finished the book. Okay, well, do you know the divination? What is this? 3 down, 3 dark, 1 light. What's that? 1 light, 3 dark. 2 light, 2 dark. What is it? And well, I don't know. I got to look in them. Then if you don't know, let's do this. If you don't not know 9 position OB divination, you don't know the book Grasping of the Divine Power. Don't bother me. Because then I'm going to be, let's say if you know phase 1 and you know the book, then that means I should be able to take you with me now to do spiritual work if I'm working for a client. I want you to understand that. And that means if I say, okay, we set up a space over there for Yemoja, go invoke Yemoja over there and do a reading and see what she needs as an offering. After phase 1 spiritual training and reading Shrine and Altar and reading Grasping of the Divine Power, you should be able to do those things, as well as the prerequisite shows that you have to listen to. Now, if you can't do that, you ain't ready. You shouldn't even really be trying to talk to me about what you want to do next. Because honestly, man, this is going to sound bad, but them last minutes of the show always sound the worst. Honestly, you're kind of turning me off when you do that. Because you're disrespecting what I've given you. I didn't give you that instruction because I wanted you to see how much I knew. I'm giving you that instruction because I'm giving you I knew spiritual training phase 1 through 3, just so you get it. That's the basics. That's just so we can have a conversation. That's the basics. So you won't be coming up to me saying something like, we're created by the sun. And then I got to sit there and hear that garbage. Garbage in, garbage out. Don't be putting garbage into my ears, man. I have to keep a certain type of energy around me. Okay? So I know all this sounds real snobbish and, take it how you want, man. But, we need more people sharing information like this. And I want you to understand something. You don't have to buy the training. I don't push the training. I got one little commercial that Kim did that I play in the beginning of these shows. And sometimes I forget to even play the doggone commercial. And the only reason we did those commercials is because I kept forgetting to talk about the classes. Matter of fact, someone asked me yesterday, who's been rocking with me for over a year now, was like, oh, I didn't know you did readings. She was like, oh, you do readings? Because I never talked about it, but I've been doing other counseling sessions and stuff like that for her and the family. She never even knew I did spiritual readings. Because I don't really, I'm not here trying to push that stuff to you like that. You got enough free stuff, man. Oh, don't be saying sorry now, Ethics, after you put ha, 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 ha. Come on, man. I need to make you my son's new sparring partner. But what I'm saying is that, you have to, I'm joking about that. I don't want to play with you too much because then you might think, I don't want to cross the lines because then you're going to cross the line, but I'm not going to be able to, so let me keep it like I should. Just go back, listen to the shows, FX. So what I'm saying is that the information, there's so much free information just with honestly the free stuff that you have. And I know a lot of people say, but it's so much to go through. Listen, this ain't for everybody. You ain't all got to be priests. I told you that stuff before. But you ain't all going to be able to talk to the priest either. You don't see me riffing and complaining when people don't call in. I got plenty of callers on the line right now. There's a lot of people listening. I don't care. Y'all ain't got to pick up the phone and talk to me. Yeah, I don't need to talk to you. You see? So, because if you're calling, you're just going to be asking me, you're just going to be putting me to work anyway. Interpret this dream for me, Baba. And then, so it's just work anyway. So I'm not inviting to work. If you want to call, cool. If not, cool. So what I'm saying is that if you really want to stop running in the circles of the nonsense and get rid of the anger that y'all are talking about and the fear and, because anger, it comes from ignorance. All right. Anger comes from ignorance. I'm not going to give you the whole answer, but your anger comes from your ignorance. Trust me on that one. I could break that down in and out. And it's so funny. I was going to get deeper into anger tonight, but I guess I didn't really go that question. Okay, so Kim said, please mention the classes. Well, Kim, you could just call in and talk about the classes. But yeah, there's classes on the Sedula House website. That's another thing. Easily accessible classes. Them classes ain't $500 or something like that. You know what I mean? They're easily accessible. So come on, man. Stop trying to play us out. Let me just keep it real with you, man. Stop thinking I'm stupid. Like, I don't know how much this information is worth. Like, I don't know how much me doing shows 6 days are strong isn't worth. You think I'm stupid? 6 hours of information. You think I don't know what I'm giving you? So if I don't see at least the base amount of effort where you can say, okay, well, I've gone through your stuff. I've listened and this and that. And, beyond just listening to my shows when you go to sleep at night, because I know that's a phenomenon. Kim said there was someone who asked if we had videos to act out the free rituals on the site. No, we don't. We don't have videos for the free rituals on the site. We just have the free rituals. We don't have the videos for the free rituals. Are we going to make videos for the free rituals? Probably not. Because we're spending time fattening up and hooking up the other classes. So maybe we'll come back to that later, maybe. But no, we're not gonna do that right now. No. All right. So I'm just saying, I'm speaking to you as your brother. I'm not speaking to you as a salesman or as someone who's trying to be popular on YouTube or anything like that. As your brother, I'm just saying to you, like, listen, man, y'all ain't gonna get it like this. And if you think you're gonna have access to someone like me, because doing stuff like that burns people like me out. Asking me them dumb questions, arguing and trying to debate about stupid stuff, trolling. That just makes me say, I don't want to do this anymore. And I wouldn't feel any guilt. So don't poison the well. If you're getting it, you don't know why I'm doing this about giving you all this information for free. You don't understand it. You don't know why. But don't mess it up, because I'm not obligated to do it. And the only price you really have to give is two things. One, respect. Well, no, that's the only price. Respect. That's it. Respect. So how do you show respect? Well, the information that you're getting, really listen to it, dissect it. And it's not about like kissing up to me or anything. It's not about that. It's about respecting yourself enough to say, you know what, whatever is given to me and given to me by grace, I'm really going to absorb it and give it my full awareness. I'm going to deposit my consciousness in it. That's what we spoke about recently. That's how you grow and learn. I told y'all, let me get this right with y'all so you get it. I never had an instructor. I had one, but it was very short-lived, who sat me down and taught me stuff. And even the one who was short-lived, he wasn't a teacher like me. He just would he would kind of ramble, actually. He would ramble, and I would just be sitting there writing notes and trying to get what I could get. And, we would just be doing stuff together and doing work together. And, I might ask him a little question in here and, Baba, he'd give me a little something, but he wouldn't he didn't have a curriculum and a class and, stuff like that. But he liked me, and he would train me, and it was grace, because I definitely was not paying him what, proper compensation for what I was getting. Definitely not. Matter of fact, I'll tell you this, I couldn't afford to pay him what he was giving me, just in letting me roll with him. Just in letting him let me go to rituals, and sometimes all I was doing was holding the animal, and
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio.
All right, we're off of Blog Talk. We're off of Blog Talk, everybody. So Blog Talk is gone, but just letting me, sometimes all I was doing was putting the animals in the garbage bag and burying them outside. Like that was my job, but I was around to see certain things, and I could look over his shoulders when he was reading Odu's, and little things he would say, even down to things, the way he would do his cuts, because there's a science to cutting right as well. Little things like that. I couldn't afford to pay for any of that. There's no class for that. I would have to ask somebody to design a class to teach me all those different things, So that's what I'm just saying, that in all honesty, the respect you show is really by absorbing it and giving it your full attention, because trust me, none of that teaching lasts forever. I'm not going to be here forever doing this for y'all. Crazy? This ain't cool. I like cool stuff. I'm doing this out of a racial obligation. In all honesty, out of a racial obligation to connect the world back to indigenous sciences and the most sane systems on the planet. But there'll come a point where I'm good. I'm done. I did it. I'm good. And move on to something else now. Maybe I'll open up a motorcycle shop. And people will say, "You look like the guy who used to teach about." Nah, I ain't him. Yeah, I look like a lot of people. What you want fixed? So I'm just saying, some of the questions that come through, man, I'm not answering some of that stuff. And I know it sounds egotistical, but I'm not doing it out of a need to shelter my own ego. I'm doing it out of a need to make sure that you're walking this path correctly, and also to not fuel the parts about you that will cause you to get confused. You see, I don't want you to get confused by me not showing you sometimes the folly in the way that you're studying, or the folly in your questioning, or in your perspective, because I'm afraid to hurt your feelings. Like I said, sometimes you got to hurt people to help them. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm not going to lie to you. You're not going to get any lies from me. All right. And there's a lot of information, like I said, between the classes that are on the site, aside from the spiritual trainer, are $20. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? That's basically free, practically, and we priced them in a way so that no matter where you live, it's not going to be crazy. Because I know some people live in certain regions where, the cost of living is a lot lower, so the salaries are lower. So, but anywhere you go, $20, you got to save it for a month. You come up with something. But, the classes are life-changing. So come on, man, and then on top of that, you got a lot of free information. And all it requires is a little elbow grease. You just got to roll up your sleeves, take out a notepad, and listen to the recordings and write down, and words that you hear that you don't understand, look them up. If I talk about a certain energy, if I give you a ritual, try the ritual. It's all right there before you even get to spiritual training. And then the books are cheap. You know what I mean? So, I know it's not a money thing, but I'm just saying that all of this was designed in a way to remove the excuses, so that way you would have access to what it is that's going to heal you. All right. So just put the work in. That's all. I'm just saying that just to let you know why I answer things sometimes the way I do. It's not because I'm trying to be mean to anybody, but it would be mean for me not to say those things and not to, point some things out to you, that you may be doing wrong. And let me tell you, a lot of what we were taught to do is wrong, in terms of how we're supposed to learn things and how we're supposed to study. A lot of it is off. So I'll share that with you. So, of course, me saying, if you can't teach my book, you don't know my book, it may sound foreign to you because, we don't really talk like that. But that's how you're really supposed to learn something. Anything outside of that is really just training, because people will teach you the mechanics of something, but they won't teach you the science of it. So y'all ask me certain questions because you want to know the mechanics. What do I do to do this? How do I do that? How do I do that? How do I do that? As opposed to the why. So I'm going to give you the why we do what we do. And then you could start coming up with your own combinations, or you can start seeing some of your problems coming a mile away. As opposed to, well, once it gets here, do this. I'm not a Western doctor, man. I'm not going to keep addressing y'all symptoms. I'm dealing with root causes here. So this is like when I spoke about earlier, archetypes. Let's go beyond the archetypes, the laws that formulate the archetypes out of their own streams of cognition, and the laws that are always inherent in the essence of being. Let's look at that stuff, because that's what's giving birth to those energies later. Always go to the root, if possible. And then, the question comes, well, who made the laws? I don't know. Ein and Ein Sof and Ein Sof the unknown, the triple stage darkness, the aspects of you that live above the crown creates the law. We can't see above the crown. My brain can't process that yet. It's not designed to process what existed, what created the infinite. Not yet. I'm sure if I sat here and thought about it long enough, I could figure it out. But I'd probably kill myself or put myself in a crazy home, because I'd have to spend a lot of time in the Okan realm. And if you spend too much time in the Okan realm, you lose your grip on three-dimensional reality. You'd be walking down the street talking to yourself. Well, it look like you're talking to yourself, but you're talking to entities that you can see, because now the lines of your reality are blurred because you spent too much time in there. You got to be careful, with that, going into the Okan for too long. All right. So that has been our segment. All right. And I know what's the name cut off a little earlier. And peace, Shasa. I see what you just said. Just found out about you this month, and the archives have had a positive impact in my home. Thank you. You're more than welcome. And for all of you who are listening, I didn't give my usual down the list. Peace, 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 peace. But you still asking questions, FX RBES. You still asking questions, huh, brother? Oh man, I'm messing with you. Yes, the heart realm. So yeah, you're right on point. Yeah, so he's right. So all right. So you've been listening. Yeah, the Okan is the realm of the heart, but it's a dimension. Yeah, I know it was serious. I'm messing with you. You're on point. It's a dimension. The Okan is not just the heart per se. You remember, Okan is calling forth the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of oneness. So when you start speaking about things like oneness, you're going outside of the realms of duality. That's a different realm, not just a dimension. See, here, when you're talking duality, we live in the realm of duality. And then you have dimensions that exist inside of realms, but then you have other realms. So a lot of times, like when you're traveling through the astral planes, you're doing cross-dimensional travel. It's deep, it's exciting, it's all that, but it's not as big a deal as going across realms. That's different. And that's actually more dangerous, believe it or not. That's harder and it's dangerous. Sometimes we do that, but we do it for a brief amount of time, because when you go into different dimensions, remember the laws are complete. Like when you go to different dimensions, there's different dimensions that govern each laws. Different laws that govern each dimension, excuse me. But each dimension is a compendium that makes up the realm. So it's like bouncing from the heart again to the spleen, to the liver, to the esophagus. So you can do that, or you can bounce into someone else's body. That would be like bouncing into another realm, you see. And sometimes people do that and they get stuck. Sometimes Bokors do that, or left-handed sorcerers. They play around, they try to do the spiritual work, try to possess people, and they screw up the work. They don't know how to do it properly, and they get stuck. Because you're opening up or trying to open up gateways inside of people's psyche so you can enter inside of their space. But sometimes they go in there and it feels good, and they don't come back out in time. I've seen that before, and people lose a part of themselves and be walking around zombies, But that's another talk, man. I don't need to hear all that spooky stuff before you go to bed. All right. Until such time, I will speak to you all tomorrow. Today's Wednesday, Thursday. Tomorrow's 1:00. Show will be 1:00. All right. So be sure to tune in, and if you liked and everything that you were hearing and stuff, be sure to like, comment, and share. All right. And I'll do like I try to normally do. I'll read the comments from the day before, and if there's any questions or whatever, responsible questions, I'll get into them. All right. You all are welcome. So peace, Andrea and Sister Marva and Gemma and Shamika. And Nicole and Darcy and Keisha, Anwar and Gloria and Darcy, I think I said, and Patrick and Seeking Wisdom, all the ones I remember. I don't remember everybody off the top. T. Lee, Bello Marsh, of course, holds it down. Sister Michelle, always holding it down. You know, she's like one of the pillars of Anu. At this point, we might have to dedicate a building to the Bonilla family. But Sister Gloria Caples, ain't seen you in a minute. She popped her head in earlier. So, you know, peace to you all. Designs Not Defined. I think that's your thing name. You know, just peace to everyone, man. And enjoy your sleep tonight, man. You know, and you know, definitely think about the things that I said. I know it feels like a lot of work, but let me tell you what it's all about. Pacing and planning. Those two words. Get them right. Oh, you know, I said something yesterday. I just saw Pedro popped up about it. Was I talking to Pedro? No, I was speaking to Brother Tureen about a business, and I said, you know, speak to Brother Dietrich, and y'all two need to link up your calendars together. Well, I'm gonna throw some other people in there. Brother Anwar, who's another business owner. Brother Pedro. Okay, so the four of you guys, Pedro, Anwar, Tureen, and Dietrich. Okay, so I just want to put it out here on the record. You all are working on businesses. So you four guys need to share a calendar. Go to Google Calendars, create a calendar. Name it whatever you want. Sausage party. No, just joke. You know, brothers doing business. You know, brothers incorporated. Whatever. You could make it something real powerful. RBG. But either way, and start speaking about your timelines with each other, so you can hold one another accountable for what you're doing. Brother Anwar has, well, you got a couple of things. So I don't even want to just, you know, I know he's got the delivery service, but he also does music and video and graphic design. So he's all over the place. I don't know exactly what his main thing is. Dietrich has the security service. Brother Pedro does video as well. And Brother Tureen, he actually already is a trucker. He already drives trucks. But we did speak some time ago about, you know, he got a reading, and one of the things I spoke about, you know, I'm always about business. So we had spoken about that. So that's four brothers right there, man. And I always say, with three men, I could do, with three people, I ain't even got to be men. Three people, I can do anything. Three is a magic number. You know, three people, you can do anything. Y'all got four. You know, so try to create a little circle there. And I'm sure there's more of y'all, but you might want to start with a small nucleus at first. And hold each other accountable, man. You know, create a calendar, see what each person is supposed to be doing and when. And even if you just have a phone call, man, you know, and make it brief. Hey, did you do such? You know, all right, boom. You know, don't get into a whole trying to teach each other stuff that y'all don't even know and stuff like that. You know, brothers, sometimes we do when we get together. You know, we talking about stuff we don't know what we're talking about. But, you know, just create a calendar. So I meant to say that yesterday because I only said Dietrich. But when I got off, I was like, you know what? I should have thrown, Tureen, I only said Dietrich. And when I got off, I said I should have thrown Anwar and Pedro in there as well. Because I know Pedro, Dietrich, and Tureen, the three of y'all know each other. So throw Armor in there as well, because some of y'all already have momentum in terms of your business. But I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna get off. This whole work that I do, all of it, has always been for me about making a space where people can do what they say that they came here to do. That's it. It's never been about me sitting up on a throne somewhere, establishing this community, and me sitting up somewhere and everyone bringing me tribute and all the women walking up top. Although, I mean, if y'all want to do that, I mean, I'm not going to stop you. But it's never been about that. It's always been about creating a space and an opportunity for people to do what they say they do, and to be able to link and network with each other. And then I kind of just step back and just let you guys go do your thing, because I'm more of a destroyer than a builder. I told you that before. My gift is more in destruction and clearing the way so that the builders can come build. I have a vision. I'm an architect, but I'm more the guy who clears off the land, and chases away the poachers and secures the property for the people who want to actually come in and build. That's really more where my talent lies. I can do other things, and I do them a lot of times out of necessity, but not necessarily because that's what I feel that I'm here to do. So, you guys have a divine opportunity, because for all of you brothers and you sisters who are really vibing with this new information, you have a situation where there may be 200-300 of you guys who actually are thumbs upping the same information. Now, if you were all in the same physical building, then I think you'd probably feel the impact of it a little bit more. But because it's on the internet, you probably don't realize how special that is. You see, so there's a cohort, there's a camaraderie that's already generated as a result, because there's at least 3 or 4 things that you agree on. At least, I'm probably more, but at minimal, there's at least 3 or 4. Everybody's listening to this knows that there's something outside of the major 3 religions. Everybody. So that's something that you all can stand on. Everybody listening to this, you always hearing me say indigenous sciences. So you're not scared of indigenous sciences. That's number 2. That's nothing you might agree on. You see, I mean, we could just kind of go through it. So that's special, man. Don't lose that. You see, that's why I say I try to invigorate the critical thinking in you, because don't rely on me to keep you all together. Don't do it. It'll be a huge mistake. Do not do that. You have to take the initiative. And for, again, like you brothers and sisters who are trying to do similar, we got a bunch of sisters who are trying to make products and stuff. Well, you can buy some things wholesale together, or just sit and talk about, or keep each other in check. Like you may not know what each other does in terms of your actual specialties, but you can definitely look at each other's calendars and say, well, did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do that? And, know that it's all love, and speak to each other the way you're supposed to speak to each other. Don't be afraid to say, well, don't say BIT. Well, that's how you talk. I almost said that. But say, girl. I said, bitch. No, but say, girl, you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. Or brother, you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. I have a language. I'm sterilizing it for the airwaves. But, you hold each other to that, man. So just understand that aside from me, I knew it's not about you learning all of this stuff, because you can join the ministry and not be in our new spiritual training. It's not a prerequisite to the ministry. So I hope y'all get that. I hope you understand that. And joining the ministry is just filling out a form. It's not like it's not like y'all paying dues or anything like that. It's just filling out a form. And the form is really so that the primary purpose of that form is so that we can see where everybody is at. So when people are writing in those letters saying, I wish there was somebody in my area, I feel so isolated, we can look on a spreadsheet, because that's why we have the zip code. We require your zip code. Say, well, listen, it's such people to see if we can try to get a chapter going in your area, so you have some people to link up with. That ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't have to be a part of that. In fact, let me hip you to something. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't even want to be. I don't even call in on the men's calls. I'm not on the men's calls. I set it up. I gave them the phone number. Brother Charles and I organized it. I stepped back. That's what I do. So I'm just gonna put that out there, man, for you guys. You know, oh, Shamika Harris, you want to join the study group, but you finished phase 1. Miss Harris, didn't you finish phase 1? Yeah, look at that there. But but anyway, yeah. So just kind of keep that in mind. You know, that's what I'm here to do for you all. It's not necessarily to be the center of your experience. I don't want to be the center of your experience. Okay? I just want to help you all to have an experience. That's my desire. Okay? So you know, put the work in yourselves, man, and start to link up. That's why the app has that function in it where it says our Nubians, and you can go and talk and chat to each other. Also, now on the Sedula House site, you can do the same exact thing as well. You can send each other messages. People have already started sending me messages, you know, but you can send each other messages as well on Sedula House through the new way that I set the site up, man. You know, so link up. Don't put me at the center of it, because you know what? Next year, I might get into the gothic thing or something, man. Paint my fingernails black and, you know what I mean? Start walking around with a cape on and high heel boots. You never know. You can't trust these hippie types like me. You know, we were just blowing in the wind. So you better use this opportunity to dig in now. All right. And I see that you all have been wanting to share email addresses with each other. You know, you can do that, but just remember again that in the app you can contact one another. You have the women's call on Mondays, every Monday at 8 p.m. And you also have on Sedula House, you can also send messages back and forth to one another as well. For any of you who heard what I just said about linking up together and, you know, don't get it in time before I close this show down, because I'm about to shut it down. Okay? Yeah, why I got to be like that? Why you got to be like that? But anyway, all right. So it's been good building with you all, and you know, I'm glad we were able to talk in the chat and everything. And hey, you know what, brothers, was FXRBES needs a big brother. Somebody scoop him up, all right, before he hurts himself, thinking that the sun's his creator, and he tries to freaking lay out in the sun all day so that the mothership will come pick him up. Please, somebody help that brother out before he hurts himself. All right, so you got his username right there, FXRBS. I don't even think he's in the class yet, though, because, you know, he one of them. He's trying to make his own class off of Instagram through my inbox. You know how they do. But, yeah, somebody grab him up, please. But okay, so I see some last things. Solutions-focused therapy at its best. We need it, Chief. The post-slave syndrome is thick. It's shown up is. It's shown up is, sister. And Sister Divine says, tonight was for me, Chief. I didn't hear the whole show. Busy, but I'll listen again as usual. But the piece I just heard was my message. You hear it all the time. Thank you. Yes, I do. People always say, you talking to me? Some people really actually, will the app be on iPhone soon? Yeah, it actually should have been out already. Should be out. Let me see. What are we in? February? No later than maybe. We're in March. You see, I told you guys I'm not good with dates. I thought we were still in February. March, April, May. Probably by May. It should be out before May, but at the latest May. Yeah, at the latest May. Yeah, because I'm just making some changes to it too. So it's another reason why it's been delayed. But yeah, I got to put it out because a lot of the Apple people have been emailing me saying, when are you going to put it out? And I thought, I didn't think the Apple thing was that big a deal. But yeah, I'll get it out. So yeah, you know, you have that opportunity as well. Yeah, to link up with one another. But yeah, people a lot of times think the broadcasts are about them. And trust me, it is and it isn't. And primarily because a lot of you have the same issues. That's why it's important for you to talk to each other. You start to realize some of the things that you think are just your own internal defects are actually products of a greater societal socialization. And you're sitting here thinking that was your bloodline, or you just have a retardation in certain areas of your life. But it's not that, man. Like I told you, the complexity of the oppression that's been presented to us through various means and various modalities is deep, and it permeates so many different fabrics of our waking life and our culture. So a lot of times, many of you have the same exact issues, and I try to hint you towards it. I'm not gonna reveal your secrets. That's why I say, well, talk to each other. I try to hint it. Talk to each other. Because sometimes you're feeling just certain insecurities because you feel like it's just you, or, like Kim has spoken about that a lot. Everybody thinks that everyone is so much further ahead than them, and they're not. They're not. They're not. So, you have to learn to open up to each other, because opening up to one another is opening up to yourselves. When you heal each other, you heal yourselves. Just always remember that, and when you heal yourselves, you heal each other, because there's no separation, only specialization. You got to understand that we're all connected. We all sitting in the room together, touching. We're all in a room together touching, believe me. And some of us are better at certain things than others, because there's specialization. That's why I said, don't try to put me at the center of everything. I don't want to be, because I'm not good at everything, and I don't want to be good at everything. I can do a lot of different things, but there's certain people that are better at some things than I am, because we all have our specialties, you see. In fact, and I've said this before, I'm going to say it again before I go, I'm not even supposed to be doing this. All right? This is not even what I'm supposed to be doing. This is woman's work. Teaching, it's a woman's work. That's who teaches us, the woman. I said that years ago with these shows. I said, somebody come on and take over the show. I had one person who stepped forward, but she wasn't ready. And I knew she wasn't going to be consistent with it anyway. She's one of the people, once something starts feeling like work, she want to stop it. And I knew she was going to do that to me. So I said, nah, you not you. But no one else stepped forward. And y'all, maybe you guys thought I was joking when I said, yeah, come and take these shows over. I don't want to do this. But it needs to be done, But this is women's work, to be teaching other women. And as far as you men, we learn by doing. So y'all just get off the show and go do the stuff that you're supposed to go do. But yeah, so everybody has their specialties, and I'm sure there's certain people who can present and will be a lot more pleasant to speak to and to hear than I am. Everyone has a thing that they're here to do. All right. So there is no separation. There is only specialization. I might have to make that. I know I said it about 10 times tonight, and that wasn't intentional. It just kept coming out like that. I might have to meditate on that a little bit more, even myself. All right. So thank you all. Thank you all for riding with me. Those of you who rode to the end. It seems like our numbers picked up towards the end. I guess people from Blog Talk jumped off and came over to YouTube. I don't speak much, but Chief, thank you. Oh yeah, I understand, Sister Divine. But you will be speaking when you do that Obi show. And I know you're waiting for me to stop bringing it up, but I'm never going to stop, because I have a memory like an elephant. So at some point, we're going to hear this Obi show from Sister Divine. She's going to break down the archetype of Obi to us. Can't wait to hear that one. It's going to be good. I know it's going to be good, because she's going to be working on it. She's been working on it for about 6 months now. So, all right. But yeah, until such time, I'll see you all tomorrow at 1 p.m. And we're going to pick up from there. We're going to go even deeper. And brothers link up, sisters link up separately. not co-ed, separately. Link up, and start working on each other's stuff with each other, man. All right? Don't keep coming to me with all your business plans. All right? Work with each other. Build each other up. All right? Until such time, everyone, sleep well, and may your ancestors hold you in the palm of their hand tonight as you rest.